Right, time to get all your whistles out because the Yellow Army is coming. It's time to look once again at the Chennai Super Kings by some distance, whatever metric you choose. They've been the team of the IPL. They've played 9 times. They've made the playoffs every year. They've made 7 finals. They've won 3 times. They just know how to play the IPL. Sometimes they sneak into the playoffs. Sometimes they march into the playoffs. But Dhoni and Chennai Super Kings just know how to play the IPL. Last year, the first game that I saw in Chennai was one of the most emotional things I have seen in my years covering cricket, as all of Chennai just seemed to gather around that Chennai Super Kings team, and I thought it was criminal that they only played 1 game there. CSK have to be in Chennai. They play well there, but it's also one of the highlights of the IPL once CSK turn up to play in Chennai. We also said, a lot of us and a lot of you did as well, that they were an aging side and that it was a loyalty thing. Everyone gets to know how to play the IPL, lots of experience. Guess what they did? They scored at 8.58 and over. 4 times they crossed 200. They had a batting average of 35. They hit 145 sixes. Every time there was a tense moment, a player stood up. Whether it was a Watson or a Faf du Plessis or a Dhoni or a Raidu, whether it was Sam Billings. One match he suddenly turns up, he gets man of the match. Deepak Chahar comes in, he does something. Dhoni just knows how to make teams out of players, and we saw that last year. They had 11 man of the match awards. They were won by 8 different players. Suddenly comes the late end of the tournament. Faf du Plessis scores in 1 game. Watson scores in 1 game. So what can we expect this year then? The one word you always associate with CSK is continuity. They don't just go around making changes. They don't go around sacking anybody. The only genuine change they've made this year is they've got in Mohit Sharma. They probably thought they needed an extra player. Shardul Thakur's been injured recently. So now they've got Deepak Chahar, Shardul Thakur, Mohit Sharma among the Indian fast bowlers to choose. Lungi Ngidi, how well did we discover that Lungi Ngidi could be a really good T20 player? So he's around. They've got a very solid Indian batting core. And that's important, as we've often talked about in the IPL. They've got Suresh Raina, who's one of the great IPL players. I don't know how much cricket he's played this year, not a lot, but whether he's in form, coming back and delivering in the IPL. So he had a sort of 50-50 mixed kind of IPL last year, but Raina has been one of the IPL greats. So Raina's around. So there's Raina, Raidu, Dhoni, Jadhav. That's a very solid core. You want something else? There's Dhruv Shorey, who's a good player for Delhi. There's Murli Vijay hanging around. But this is a very solid core at 3, 4, 5, 6. What that does is it allows you to then play the Jadejas and the Bravos in there as well. He'll want 2 or 3 overs from Kedar Jadhav. And the one thing to watch out for is, will Shane Watson bowl? And the reason I ask this is Dhoni likes to carry options onto the ground. He then looks at the situation and decides who should bowl where. I mean, there was a day when earlier Jadeja was only bowling 1 or 2 overs. There was a day when Harbhajan didn't bowl at all. He likes to carry 6, 7 bowling options, and he won't get that if Raina and Shane Watson are not bowling. So that'll be the interesting thing to watch out for. Who opens for them? I think he'll go with the tried, tested, veteran opening pair of Faf du Plessis and Shane Watson. I thought he might look at an option for Shane Watson, but he might use David Willey there, for example, because he can go and tonk at the top. He'll give you more overs than Shane Watson. But Watson's come back into form. He scored a few runs in the Big Bash. He scored runs in the PSL. So Watson's back in form. So that top 7, 8 almost picks itself with Jadeja and Bravo. Then you've got 3 other players. I think he likes Deepak Chahar. He gives him a bit of batting there as well. He gives him 3 overs at the start with swing. So there's Deepak Chahar in there. Lungi Ngidi bowled very well. And then he's got the option of either Harbhajan Singh or the leg spin of Karan Sharma. If Imran Tahir wants to get in, then they'll probably have to have Raidu opening the batting, take one of the openers out. But there's a lot of options. So then this is my super team. I'm opening with Faf du Plessis and Shane Watson. I've got Raina, Raidu, Dhoni, Jadhav. That's a very, very strong core. I've got Bravo and Jadeja at 7 and 8. Then I've got Lungi Ngidi, I've got Karan Sharma and Deepak Chahar at 9, 10 and 11. There's so many options. Tomorrow you want to play a Mitch Santner, he'll give you something with the bat as well. If Jadeja is not in form, then you can pick him. You suddenly want a Sam Billings in there. There's so many options with that side. So is there a problem with Chennai Super Kings? There's one that I can think of. And that's not something you normally associate with any team that has Dwayne Bravo in it. Who's going to bowl at the death? We saw last year that Dhoni used Lungi and Giri really well. He still got something out of Dwayne Bravo. Now, since the last IPL, Dwayne Bravo's economy rate is over 9 and over. He's not the same end overs bowler that he was, because I think people are setting themselves up for the slower ball. That happens with a lot of bowlers as well. So he might have to look at somebody else to bowl the death overs. I won't be surprised if out of the blue he starts getting overs out of Watson. He starts using Lungi and Giri for 2 overs at the end. But that's the only sort of weak link that I can see in that side. Dhoni himself isn't tremendous from what an IPL he had last year. So I don't know if this is going to be the swan song of this side and whether they'll have to start looking at younger players going ahead. There's a lot of players, not just over 30, but nudging 34, 35. But you know what? We said that last year and they won the IPL. So there is no IPL without the Chennai Super Kings. I'm really looking forward to watching them play because I have no idea what Dhoni is going to do, except that Dhoni and CSK always find a way.